What are some signs that a relationship has run its course? If you find that you can only relax and be yourself when they aren't around, crushing you with the weight of their silent judgment and disapproval, it's way past the expiration date. When you see spending time with them as a chore, and look forward to when your interactions are over. There is no more communication exchange. You always feel like the next thing you say will cause another fight. When you realize she's not your girlfriend anymore, just a shitty roommate. Oh my god, they were roommates. You used to think their little quirks and habits were adorable. Now they are just annoying AF. You've bottled your real feelings up so much that now everything they do or say fills you with contempt. Oops. If you no longer want to spend time with them and would rather be doing other things. Rigor mortis is setting in. When all you can think about is how different you are. When you're lying or making excuses to not be with them. When they go on a spring break trip and screw a guy she went to high school with repeatedly for a week. When you stop seeing a future with them. There's a voice in your head that says you know it's over. Every time my relationship has been ending I have had this happen. Sometimes you fight it, sometimes you don't. But the voice is always right in the end. When you don't care if she leaves or not. Dealing with this right now. I love her and want to be with her, but she has some mental health issues that she's not willing to get help for. She threatens to leave and I just say goodbye and walk away. When you come home after work and no one is home and 90% of everything in the house is gone. Happened twice. If it happens a third time it might be you. When you would rather be alone or spend time with other people. When you can't make yourself trust them again no matter how hard you try. One of the best quotes I heard on behalf of the cheater is, "I won't live an apology for the rest of my life." If a person can't accept the apology and move on, it's over anyway. Persistently bringing back up past mistakes to win arguments or get what you want isn't healthy. Cheating is awful and in most cases should lead to the end of the relationship. But those that do stay together after shouldn't force the other person to live an apology forever. When you turn the corner driving home, and feel disappointment when you see her car in the driveway, because you know the minute you step in the door she's going to start crapping on you again. The nature of the relationship changes. There's nothing as exciting as a new love. There's nothing as comfy as an old love. Don't confuse that change with the end of a relationship. It's when you just don't want to be around them anymore that the end has come. When you realize that your partner will never be willing to put in the work to make the relationship succeed. And if when planning the future, it's not feasible to maintain your relationship while also continuing towards your dreams and end goals. Finding yourself coming up with excuses or reasons to do stuff away from them. For me, it was learning to get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym, be back in my own apartment by 5:30 and get 2 hours of video game time in because I needed it for my mental health. We broke up not too soon after I started trends like that. Contempt. I took a marriage and family course in college and their professor said that's one of the biggest signs things are going to should end. And I've 100% been there. When someone says your so's name and you give a sigh or a grimaced look on your face. General apathy in my experience, from one or both sides, either can kill it. Apathy and stubborn behavior, e.g., I don't hurt you yet I still don't want to be with you. I also don't care enough to do anything about either feeling. You're both cheating on each other with the same person. Well, I do like piña coladas. When you notice that your partner doesn't miss you or vice versa after being separated for a while. If you've been apart for a couple weeks or longer and your partner still feels no particular urgency to see you or talk to you, then the relationship is dead. You can't see love coming, but you can see it leaving from a mile away. When you constantly wish you were elsewhere. You no longer like the way your so smells. I dislike my own smell. I'm ready to leave myself. While I couldn't pinpoint any one thing that was wrong, I started to get the sense he was annoyed with me. I said something wrong. He didn't want me around, etc. Trust your gut. Even if he's not experiencing anything wrong, you're clearly sensing something. So talk it out. Maybe he is cheating on you. Maybe you have unfounded trust issues. Man, when my husband and I were first dating I would get this sense all the time and he always said nothing was wrong. Later, He'd tell me work was really stressing him out or something specifically happened that day. If ya girl keeps asking what's wrong, just tell her. She probably thinks you're getting ready to dump her and now she has anxiety too. When you start fighting about a lot of meaningless things, in many cases, I'd say it's a manifestation of the hesitation to deal with the quite harsh truth that you no longer feel that you want to be with the person, having to face the fact that the person you've been so close to, the person you've shaped your future with, the person you sacrificed a lot for, the person you might have introduced to your friends, etc., is really difficult. So it's easier to say that your exasperation with the person is because they didn't do X. When spending time is something you have to give effort to actively think about and plan out as opposed to something you look forward to and excitedly long for, I know that's what it was for me. She became a block in my schedule instead of the reason my schedule existed. When you discover irreconcilable differences, relationships take a lot of work. There will be times when you don't want to be together, or when you're not sexually in sync, or whatever. Those things need to be worked through and your relationship will be stronger for it. The red flag I would watch out for is inherent differences in morality, beliefs, that kind of thing. When you start to ask this question in your mind when you look at your partner. Several. But off the top of my head, the sight of them does nothing for you. Getting a text or phone call from them elicits an eye roll. You try to avoid them. You cannot hold a conversation with them because everything they say is irritating. You really could not care less about their day or anything they have to say to you. You find yourself fantasizing of a life without them. And it makes you smile. You know. Just to name a few. Can't decide if you want to see them or stay home and pick your feet. There are quite a few signs that a relationship is reaching its end, but the most common are as follows. Conversation has all but entirely stagnated. Many people mistake mutual interest for compatibility, but that inevitably leads to relationships which end once the getting to know you stage is over. If you find yourself struggling to converse with your partner, if you can't just talk about your day, rant to each other, or find new experiences to discuss, then it's likely that you'll end up going your separate ways before too much longer. Spending time with one another feels like a chore. Neither loving someone nor being in love with someone is enough to make a pairing last, especially if one of you feels like they're carrying more emotional weight than the other. If you dread the prospect of spending extended periods of time with your partner, or if you suspect that they have similar reservations about your interactions, it's generally a sign that the relationship is nearing its end. You keep finding venomous spiders in your underwear drawer. While it's true that many arachnids prefer to hide in dark, dry places, they lack the mental wherewithal to effectively inform others of their kind about choice vacation spots. As such, if you continually find spiders attempting to use your unmentionables as a gondola to your nether regions, there's a good chance that your significant other is responsible for their presence. This should be taken as a sign that not all is well between the two of you. Your partner is deviating from their routine without informing or including you. Everyone likes change from time to time, but humans are also creatures of habit. We typically only make large adjustments to our lives when something or someone significant has entered the picture. And if you've been kept in the dark about such a development in your partner's life, there's a good chance that they're intentionally withholding something from you. It won't necessarily be that they're cheating, though. They might be altering their commute so that they can make frequent stops at Honest Earl's Discount Fish and Appliance Repair, which as everyone knows is the premier place to shop for spiders. In short, there are a number of things that can signal the end of a relationship. But before you jump to any conclusions, it pays to be completely open, mature, and communicative. If nothing else, you'll both come away feeling significantly less hurt, and you'll both be significantly better off in the future. When you catch yourself lying often, when you're hiding who you are around them because you don't want to fight or disappoint them, and when you won't each other anymore. From personal experience, the biggest indicator is when tensions should be high. You should be upset or arguing, but you just don't care anymore. The opposite of love is not hate, it is apathy. FYI to anyone reading through this, a good portion of replies here are also totally normal occurrences in any long-term relationship. There is an ebb and flow to being with someone for many years. Some days you may want to hang out and others where you want to be left alone. Oftentimes you can go several days without having a noteworthy conversation. Just because something like this occurs doesn't mean your relationship is doomed. What it may mean is that you need to put some effort into sparking things back up. I've had the personal experience of finding venomous spiders in my underwear drawer, and it was a telltale sign that I hadn't taken my wife out to dance in a few weeks. After putting in a bit of effort, my wife and I felt like we had just started dating. I no longer had to fear amputation of my nethers. When everything about your life is being controlled down to the tiny details.